All right, this is the Sam Auction Jr. Show, and I'm here tonight with Andy Wood of the Unity Motor Garage. Great to have you back this week. We're on different teams here this week, or different sides. You know,
Yes.
I'm hosting you, and but anyway, we're going to talk about some three major engines that Ford had, and see what we can do with them. And I think, Andy, we want to start with the Cleveland, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Start with the smallest and go to the biggest, I
Go
guess.
to the biggest monster. All right. Um, Before I do that, would you guys please like, subscribe, and share so that this electricity keeps going into this computer to keep it going?
That's right.
Right. But anyway, we'll start out with the Cleveland, and that engine we did quite well with. Um, but we had to downsize because Pro Stock went from big blocks to small blocks, and we obsoleted some motors, engines overnight. You know, or going to Cleveland. So anyway, we start with that. One of the big things I remember about the Cleveland was obviously the cylinder heads with the plates, the high port plates, and that was really just one of the uh, bring it alive type thing. I don't know if Jack Roush was the originator of the plates or not. I've heard different stories on it, but uh,
I've seen ads where he was selling them, and I think he was the first one to actually sell the plates, but
yeah,
I don't know if he is the originator of it. And I've also seen some Ford documentation on the doing that modification as well.
is that right? Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, I'd gotten heads, but I got them from Jack, and they already had the plates on them, so it was a complete head. Uh, when I say complete head, didn't have the valves in it, but it was complete as far as ready to work on, assemble. But that's one thing that really brought them alive. But the other thing is that it took some work to make sure the engine lived, uh, like all those engines back in the day. It was not easy. We had to modify the crank. We actually ran that nasty word, Chevrolet rods in it. We ran Chevrolet small block rods. They were aluminum, probably Mickey Thompson's. Could have been another brand, but it's probably Mickey Thompson. But 6-inch rods, and of course aluminum, and we had a unique setup there. We widened the crank some to fit the rods, but at the same time, we had to cut the rod down a little bit. So it was a matter of widening crank and narrowing the rod to get a happy medium to where it wouldn't make the
What
perfect.
crankshaft? What crankshaft were you using?
Hey, back then that's all we get. It was a
Stock.
high non-angular iron stock crankshaft. That's all.
Wow.
And we somehow they hung together. And we used a 912 pin lightweight wrist pin on them. And I actually had to call my brother to remind me of exactly what everything was, because he actually took over whenever we stopped running that engine. My brother took over that engine, put it in the 71 Mustang Pro Stock car we had.
Hmm.
Uh, he actually put that engine into that one, and also put it into the Boss car. We'll get into the Boss later. But yeah, so we ran and this, well, one of the crazy things about the Cleveland, and my thoughts in the beginning were that we would just be, uh, it's a small block and doesn't need much cam, doesn't need much carburetor, doesn't need all that. But to my surprise, and I was telling Andy before we went on the air, uh, this crane cam that we got from Harvey Crane, this this cam actually had 799,000 lift on it, intake and exhaust. So it was had a lot of camshaft that I thought for the engine, but it worked, and it really brought it to life on that end of it. And the crazy RPM, actually, Crane had it set at 5,500 minimum, 9,000 maximum, and 9,600 for valve float. So if you can just imagine.
Now, what kind of rock arms did you run?
We ran the Crane rocker, the roller rockers.
Okay.
Yeah. They supplied everything they had to make it operate. So, and of course the roller cam was also.
In the beginning, did you run a stud girdle on top of it as well?
I don't recall that we did that. I might be wrong on that. You're stretching my brain now. My brother probably be paging me any minute. I know we did have on the one engine stud girdles, and maybe we had it on that one. But he'll notify me. But anyway, so we had like Manley valves in it. So and then we got to the carburetors, and we thought, no way will it like these 4,500 carburetors. We're going to use 660s in it. Well, that lasted a short time. We realized that it needed the large carburetors, and we put them on there, the 1050s. I tell you, it really came to life then. It loved the carburetors, it loved the cams, it loved the exhaust ports. I mean, it was a small block, but it liked the big block items on it. So
let me ask you this, Sam. So
yeah.
you had been dealing with tunnel ports, cameras, and bosses. What was that learning curve like going to this tinker toy of an engine and figuring out, okay, what do we do next?
Right. Well, it was really a tough lesson, because whenever you think that way to begin with, and you think, well, it's just a small engine and it's not going to make any big horsepower. It's not going to do any of these things. And but lo and behold, it turns out to be a killer engine, and we loved running it. And another story is we actually purchased from Smoky Unique. We purchased a Can-Am aluminum block, and that block was a nightmare on making it work. It had bolt holes and stuff that we didn't use. We had to make the pans, the oil pan fit the block. The rear main seal didn't fit right. There was all kinds
of things. Smokey.
Do what?
Tell them how much you paid Smokey for that block.
Paid Smokey $2,000 for this block. That was a lot of money back then. You know, it was crazy money, but we thought, we thought it was going to do miracle things. But and it it was I don't know about telling that story or not, but what do you think, Andy?
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. All right, we're down at one of the last races we ran. We ran down at Summer Duck Dragway and Summer Duck, Virginia, and we're down there, and it's I had never ran there, and Roger had called me, I don't know how many times, about coming down there and running, and I thought, boy, I heard so many stories about Ronnie Stocks, tearing a car up and flipping it and down the end and all that stuff. So anyway, I finally, it was towards the end of my career, and I said, okay, well, I'll come down there. So I went down there, and there was 16 car qualifier, and I thought, wow, okay. I waited and waited, and nobody would qualify. I thought, I didn't know what was going on. I'm thinking, this is crazy. And why are they not trying to qualify? So anyway, after I just waited long enough because it was a 2 o'clock show and I think it was getting to be like 11:30, 12 o'clock. So I said, well, I'm going to go ahead and try and run, Well, we got up there and we put rosin down. Back then they let us run rosin, and that was people loved it. I mean, it put on a show. That's what it was, just a show. And so get up there and make a couple burnouts, and it sticks good. And we go make a run, and that car runs every place but straight. I mean, it was we were taking up most of the track, and I thought, my God, we're going to total this car, So anyway, we I come back to the pits, and I hear the announcer saying, "A track record." I'm going like, a track record? You got to be kidding me! That thing. So anyway, it stood there for a while, and so the other guys got up there and they ran, and I said, I'm not gonna. This car can't handle this track. It's gonna. We're gonna wind up tearing this car up, or maybe me. But anyway, so I waited and waited, and I went from number 1 to number 16. So we're like, okay, here we go. One more, I'm out, and I'll go home. Well, gets down to 16. I'm the 16th one. So anyway, we start to run, and meanwhile, Hubert was there, and Hubert comes over and he says, what kind of block is that? I said, I got it from Smoky Unit. It's a Can-Am block. He says, how many cubic inches is that block? I said 360, and it had P&G at 360. And God, he's going, oh, it can't be. He's having a fit, So I said, well, P&G. I said, I can't tell you any more than that. So anyway, he's pissed. So so anyway, we start racing, and we got one. I weed my way down to him and me, and so Hubert makes the run before the finals. He splits the block.
God.
So Hubert in his infamous ways takes the drains the water out of it. And so we get up there stage and we run, and I beat him, and we come back, and of course he broke the block by then. I don't know what the heck he stayed there and ran for, but anyway, I come back to the pits. Everything's cool. Hubert comes over, and I think at that time he went straight to the tower. He said, I'm protesting. He told Roger, he said, I'm going to protest him. He's not legal. I know he's not legal. And I said, Roger, the car P&G. And I said, I don't know what to tell you, And Roger said, well, we're not taking the heads off of it. So he told Hubert, he says, the race is over, Hubert. He won. That's it. It's over. So anyway, we get paid and we go home. And my dad had calculated this. Sam Sr. had calculated his cubic inches. And so I said to him, I said, you sure we're right on those cubic inches? I said, I know it P&G, right? And we would always use the number one cylinder. So anyway, I know it P&G, right? And so anyway, he goes back. I give him the bore and the stroke and all that again. he says, oh my, he says that engine's about 385 or 88 inches. About died. I said, well, maybe Hubert was right. So it was so funny. I think afterward it was funny. But Hubert was he was pissed, but hey, he knew what it was too. So, and of course we never tracked it any further than that, tested it any further than that. So anyway, that block finally I think we were down at MIR, and a rod broke, and it cracked the block. It broke. I mean, it really tore it up, and I wound up selling it to the block damaged like that. I sold it to Ricky Smith, and I don't know what he ever did with it, but that's the story of that Cleveland. So anyway,
Like I said, Ricky's probably got it under a table somewhere.
yeah, he probably has, knowing him. Oh my God. Oh
That's pretty good. So, do
yeah,
you remember what the fastest ET you went with the Cleveland was?
I think it's like 899, 9, right there, and 151, something like that, 152,
That's
that was
moving.
all, you know. Um, I thought we should have run faster than that, but there's a lot of things that go into that. That car had traction bars instead of 4-link. And Hardy asked me, he said, "Do you want 4-link or you want bars on it?" And I said, "Well, now if Danino had been around at that time, I would have
Right.
gone the 4-link, but he wasn't. So I said, well, the traction bars will work. So anyway, that car was about as, I know I'm getting off subject here, I guess, but it was really a trick car. And Hardy had had built this car a little different than the rest of them. He had built the car. We had gone to the Gator Nationals, and we had gone all the way down to Florida. And I think what the heck, I can't remember the tech guy's name now, but anyway, he gets he measures the car, he measures the wheelbase, he measures the front wheel to the door. I mean, he's got all these measurements, and he says, "I don't know what's wrong with it, but it's not right." I said, "What do you want me to do?" I said, it measures every place correct." He said, "I know, but I'm not going to let you run like that. You need to crank the heim joints back on your traction bar so it would pick up another inch." I said, "You're crazy. I ain't back the heim joint back another inch." I said, "The heim will break." I said, "It's not made to take that kind of." And well, I'm telling you right now, I'm not going to let you run. And he didn't let us run. And so,
wow.
but the crazy part about it was, if you stood back 50 feet from the car, you could see that the wheels, the wheelbase was moved forward. I mean, it was like so obvious. But you had to get back from the car to really see that. And but it was funny. It really was, because we knew something was wrong with it, because when he measured from what he measured from, he measured the wheelbase, and then he measured from the wheel to the door, to the back of the door, and he said, "Well, that's off." I said, "Well, how can it be off?" I said, "The number one spindle's in the right spot. It's spot on up front. How can it be off back here?" And I was talking fast. I was trying to get this
Yeah.
thing, but it didn't work. So anyway, we came on home.
Wow, that's a long trip for nothing.
God, yes, it's a long trip, and especially you got everybody, and everybody's going crazy about it. So but anyway, all
Let me
right.
ask you this. Did
Yeah.
you do any kind of, I know Glidden was notorious for running like D-strokers. He would run odd cubic inch to get the weight right.
Yeah. Yeah.
You pretty much just stuck with
I
the
stuck with
58.
the stock stroke, and I know. Yeah. Well, obviously, he must have had something there that worked, some combination. Uh, so I mean, it is what it is. That's all.
Yeah.
I don't know what the secret magic was. I know NASCAR had wanted to run small block. They wanted to run smaller, smaller stroke, and the different displacement, so it would be small, and they'd get an advantage on the weight break. But NASCAR never went for that story. So,
Right.
yeah. But yeah. Anyway, all right. Any other questions? All I see here is Cleveland's forever. What do you mean by a plate on the head? Okay, let me go here first.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So, what do you mean by the plate on the heads? The heads were actually cut on a saw that cut the corner of the exhaust ports about 2 inches in. I'm sorry, not 2 inches in, about an inch, inch and a quarter, maybe. Move, cut the port out, cut it in about inch up and an inch back, inch and a quarter back. And there was aluminum plate that went on to take the place of the exhaust. And the exhaust plates directed the ports to exhaust be up higher instead of down low.
Yeah, they went down from the factory and then they moved it up.
Right. Yeah. So it allowed the plate, that plate allowed the exhaust to breathe much better than the stock arrangement. Why Ford never made it that way, who knows? I'm sure there's a logical answer, but I doubt it. That's
I doubt it.
Ford's
They say it was for fixing
deal.
the car, but
Yeah, right. You know, sort of crazy. But let's see. Cleveland forever. Okay, we know that one. Keep the stories going. Okay. We got enough stories here to last a lifetime.
yeah.
Okay. All right. Where you want to go from here, Andy?
All right. So let's talk about the shortest engine that you ran, shortest time period. That would be the Boss.
Oh my God, yes, the Boss 429. That was the most aggravating engine I had ever messed with. There was nothing you could do with it that made any difference at all. I mean, it was just absolutely a pain in the ass. I mean, it just as much as we worked with it, we changed everything possible. I think we had like 3 camshafts and intake manifolds and carburetors, and it was just nothing you do would change anything. It just ran the same. And we put the NASCAR pistons in it and all this crazy stuff. Didn't make any difference. Wasn't even close to making any horsepower. It was terrible, And
So you said that Ford was pretty much twisting people's arms. So, hey, we're not building a camera no more. We want you to run this Boss. And
run this Boss, be our, they want you to be their guinea pig. I mean, it was just crazy. I mean, why don't you all develop it and then bring it out? Develop it back in your test deal. Not don't expect us to do all your test work with it. And it was sad, really.
well, it made for a really good super speedway NASCAR engine, because
Yeah.
running wide open, 7,000 RPMs or whatever, but not drag racing.
Right. And it was like it didn't have any power range on the band of horsepower. It was just flat. It was one of those things that you could not get any satisfaction of anything you did. Just didn't matter. It's crazy.
And basically, the cylinder heads were too big, and you didn't have enough cubic inches.
Yeah, everybody said the intake ports were too large, and all these things that, and I don't know, maybe we're trying to put together uh, Brian Wolf and Chris Holbrook to next week. So you might want to tune in for that one.
That'll
Uh,
be a nice
but
show.
yeah, it's going to be a knockdown, drag out battle here. Because I know those two got some stories with 429s that maybe they were successful with. The only one I know that was successful is, draw a blank. Our guy down in Georgia that originally,
Oh, Pete Robinson.
no, shoot,
Oh, Kazi.
Kazi, yeah,
Yeah.
Kazi. I mean, he's successful because he rebuilt the whole engine,
Yeah.
manufactured a whole different motor. You know, if you can do that, you'd probably work okay. But no, it was a shame because a lot of people was no different than we were. We put a lot of time in it, a lot of effort in it, and it went nowhere. Ford, we got that car as stupidly as we were. Ford called, says, we want you to be in Kansas for, I think it was Kansas or maybe it's St. Louis, for some kind of end of year event or something. And so we go hustle up to the Ford dealer, Henry Woodfield Ford, and pick up a 429 Boss. Should have left the damn thing right where it was, but we got it anyway. We tried to, tried our best, and finally, I gave it to my younger brother Rick. I said, "Here, you take it," and it didn't make any difference. But we finally sold the thing off. It's still alive. The guy still has it down in Norfolk, Virginia. So
Nice.
yeah, that's one that's still alive and actually has the original car and all. So anyway, okay. Anyone got any questions here? I remember talking to me about the Boss 429 last year. Okay, heard that. Probably deal. Yes. Okay. And Rich says, thanks for the explanation.
Another thing that most people don't realize is how heavy the rotating assembly is in a Boss 429.
Oh
Those
my
things
God.
are built like a tank.
It's more like a Caterpillar engine.
Yeah.
That's right. You're swinging that baby around is like, oh my gosh, it's just terrible. Heavy. And then because we use steel rods, and why they ever made those original rods, you know how they look? They were straps like
Yeah.
like an old Model D or something. Just I never understood the engineering of that deal. It's crazy, but anyway. All right, I guess we'll move on to the killer. And of all of them, all three of them, the Camera obviously is my favorite,
Yes.
without a doubt. That engine took a lot of work to make it work, but it rewarded your work. So that's the plus side of it. You worked on it and you knew what to do, and it responded accordingly. I think one of the coolest things we had after getting it and doing our own development work with it was the intake manifold. We had actually gotten Vic Edelbrock, to make us an intake manifold, and he actually made it. The manifold was actually fiberglass together. Fiberglass. The plenum was off a Chevy, and the baseline was a fuel injection base, and it was cut off. The injectors obviously were cut off, and had exhaust tubing that ran from the injectors up to very like a 1/4-inch plate, and that would give us the place we could fiberglass to it, so we were able to make that work. But and every week or every other week, mostly every week, you'd have to fiberglass the thing back together because the vibration and shaking was, it
Yeah.
was a lot,
How
but
much of an improvement would you say that intake made ET wise?
oh my God, I think that as far as horsepower goes, I would swear it made like 40, 50 horsepower difference at least. I
Yeah.
mean, we destroyed a top loader one time. I mean, it just like really destroyed, took our best ratio top loader that Ford had sent us that had all the trick stuff, and it peeled the teeth off that thing like it was a corn cob. Gone. But it just made so much, it come to life on that. But there was a lot of things we did. We had to take the pistons because we didn't have any, aftermarket pistons. We had the stock forged pistons, and we had to take those pistons and take them and to the machine shop in Baltimore, and we had them actually tracer mill the cylinder head to the pistons to the cylinder head, and it allowed us to run the piston 120 thousandths further up in the cylinder, which really made the compression got it way up again. Not again, but never was up there. And so that was really just a big difference. I mean, all those things made such a big difference in it.
Right.
And it was just, I mean, I'll stand it up against any, and I know, next week, if Brian Wolf stays in here, we'll have some battles over it because he sort of got after me about the show without the Coyote engine.
Yeah, the Coyote and the Godzilla.
Yeah, right. And you're working on a Godzilla, right, Andy?
That's exactly right. I'm actually building one to put in my Crown Vic, so I get it.
And did you do a base engine? What did you do for a base engine?
Well, right now it was a pullout out of like a E350 van, I think it was.
Right, yeah.
And it has like 6 miles on it, but we're going to put it on the engine dyno, try some different camshafts and different things out on it. And then it's going in the car with a 10-speed automatic and just make a nice driver out of it, basically.
Right.
600 horsepower daily driver.
Well, I was looking at them at the Ford show, and it's a beautiful design and all. Just cool. I'm sure Brian will have a lot of information on it.
So
I'll have to talk to him. See.
What was the transition like going from a tunnel port, which you had a lot of success with the tunnel port?
Yeah.
59. What was that like going to the camera? Because that's like a completely different world.
Yeah, that was totally different world. It was different, but yet it didn't take near as much work to make the tunnel port successful as it did a camera. But of course, the end result was a lot more horsepower. But in the end, the tunnel port was not that far from being right close to the camera. Not as good as the camera. I would never say it was as good as a camera, but it had its good features about it, and we did quite well with it. And if you watch the videos and all, they the engine, it's crazy sounding. I mean, it's got its own sound.
It really does.
It's got its own unique horsepower, and I love that engine. There again, that's an engine too that if we had had time, okay, I think that would have been an engine that we could have done something with the high ports. If we could have made that engine uh, come up with an arrangement where the port was higher, I
Mhm.
think it would have been would have been a killer engine. I just think it would be, you know.
What most people don't realize is all of this was happening from like 69 to 73. So it's a very short time period. You go from the tunnel port to the camera to the boss to the Cleveland.
Yeah,
It wasn't like you had time to get used to one particular engine and say,
yeah,
okay,
you're right. It was just a rotation of and I know Brian's going to defend it, but Ford is just one of those uh, situations that it's like we never got comfortable before we changed the ball game.
yeah.
You know, it's like, what were you thinking? I don't know what you know. Why did you not just stay with what you had? You know, I and develop it, but they didn't develop. You know, they you know it still was the same situation. They stop in the middle of the road. We're going to change it now. We're going to do this over here. You know.
Yeah.
And then I got to admit, they took the Coyote, and it is a true race engine. I mean, it truly.
And you think about it, it's been refined. I mean, this engine's been in production for 15 years now. You know,
Yeah.
the Mustang,
Right.
2011 it came out, 15 years of development. I mean,
Yeah.
none of the older engines got that kind of attention.
No. No. And it did have. It's got a ton of development, like you say, and it's been pretty much all positive. There's a couple of those guys laying down some crazy numbers. Uh, you know, in the guy with the green Mustang, I can't think of his
Yeah,
name.
Grant LaSalle, or yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's one bad Mustang there.
But when you think about it, that Mustang is going faster than the fuel cars were in that time period.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
crazy to think.
really, they really were, you know. It's crazy, but, uh, I'm gonna, back up here a second because anytime I get on here about a camera motor, I always get these people that, somehow they believe this chain stretched about 20 feet or something. I don't know if it's true, but he said, I've heard the one issue with the camera was that the timing would change on the way down the track. I don't really believe that story. I did a post about 3, 4 months ago now, or maybe longer, and I had all these people on there. Oh, the chain stretch. That they were saying things that didn't even make sense. They were saying like the the chain stretched 14 degrees. They read this somewhere. 14 degrees. I said, well, if it stretched 14 degrees, we only had like 120 uh, valve clearance on the exhaust and about 80 or 90 on the intake. I said, if it was that much stretch, we wouldn't have had a valve left in the engine. I said, that's crazy even thinking that stuff, you know. You have obviously not thought it through, you know. But no, the timing did not stretch a mile. Did it stretch any? I guess if we'd had it on a wind tunnel and a dyno at the same time, we'd have known. But
Well,
anyway,
the thing that I've heard, and I can't verify this, but what I've been told, with nitro, it was doing it. Now, is that the case? I don't know because it's a
yeah,
totally different world.
yeah. Well,
But
it definitely,
and it makes you wonder, and I think part of the lure is when Sneaky Pete Robinson come out with the gear drive,
right. Yeah.
that suggested there was a problem.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I know they say that, but if you realistic look at it, the gear drive was such a horsepower killer.
Robber.
I mean, it just absolutely will kill the engine. with all those sprockets and all those gears running against. I mean, it just I don't care what you say. It winds up being uh, a horsepower killer. That's all. You can't run that many gears and expect that it's going to be like perfect. It just doesn't work that way. So
Well, I'll tell you what, Sam. If everything pans out right and we get to build that camera like we was talking about,
there you go.
when we put it on the dyno, we'll put a timing light on the timing chain and see it. We'll debunk it.
Yeah, exactly. That's a perfect thing to do right there. And I can't wait if we put this deal together. I hope we will have, and that'll be such a YouTube hit. I'm
It
sure.
really would.
I think it will be. Uh, I love it. So like I said, it's my favorite of all three of them.
But
You
it
know,
took some work making it your favorite. So what all did you have to do to the bottom end and the oiling and all of that?
well, the bottom end, we there again we wound up using 392 Chrysler Hemi rods, aluminum rods, not ones out of a 392 steel rods, but a Chrysler Hemi rods, uh, and that we widened the crank. We used stock cranks. Didn't really have anything else to work with. We had to widen the crank, and also sort of narrow the rod. Also, we had to do a combination there again of the rod being too wide for two of them side by side. If you cut the crank that much wider, it went to wobbling really.
Hmm.
And so anyway, to keep the crank running in line, we took and uh, used that. We narrowed the rod and the crank to fit the combination, basically what it was. And the big single thing on the bottom end, well, we won't get into that part of it, but the bottom end, one of the crazy things that people do uh, is there's a in a FE block on a 427. There's a valve in the back of the block down low, and the lower left hand side, and that valve. If you have a dry sump, then you want that valve operating, and you'd run the oil because you would have a stage that fed the back of the engine same time, and that is what it needed back there. And then the other part of that deal was if you run a wet sump, then you need to block that valve totally because you need all the oil that you can feed to the rear of the block because Ford said that there was only 7 pound oil pressure there at 7,000 RPM. So,
Not
uh,
good.
yeah, not good. So you need to pump as much as you can in there. And then, like I said, if you got to dry sump, fantastic. You can you can use the valve if you want to. But you can't put enough oil back there that will hurt anything. You need all you can get on there. And I actually any more than that, I don't think there was any. But you got to remember, we ran 1, 2, 3 times a week, so we pretty much checked the engine every uh, Monday morning. If we were, everything's cool, we drop the oil pan ASAP and make sure the bearings are good in it. And that's you had to. You can't run those engines like that and turning them so hard. You turn, the Camry, we turned 8,000-9,000 or higher. So if you're going to do that, you're going to have to check the bearings. You're going to make sure if you got a crank that's cut too far, it'll have funny wear on the sides of the bearings.
Yeah.
But we were fortunate. We had Bill Coleman. Bill died a few months back, but he did all our engine work from day one when we started. and Larry Ladd. I know a lot of people know both these people. And so we had always had them do our work. And they were always, it was a case where when we brought something to be fixed or whatever for the week, from the weekend, they jumped right on it. They knew that was their priority, no matter who else was in line. They took that, and they knew that the car had to run next week, and maybe Thursday. So do whatever we got to do to keep it going. So
Now, going back to that timing chain,
yeah.
you wound up running a motorcycle chain with a different
Well,
pin.
I called it a motorcycle chain, and some guy, he came unglued. He said, "Well, they never had a motorcycle chain back there like that, whatever." All I know is Nicholson said, "Get this chain," and I got the chain. That's all, And that chain, we never had that chain was hardened. It was blue in color. It was very hardened chain, and it was the pitch on the chain was I think it was 42 or 43, and which made it smaller on top of the sprocket. So it ran deeper in the sprocket, and it really didn't give any problem. It's just a matter of adjusting like you would any other time. But the chain itself was really, it was a tough piece. We never broke a chain, never.
Yeah.
And all these people telling me how they were breaking them and all this stuff. I don't know how they were breaking them, but maybe with a hammer or something. I don't know. But
Definitely the cameras the camera would probably definitely be the easiest to change spark plugs. I mean,
oh yeah,
good.
yeah, definitely. It's the hardest one would be the Cleveland.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Anybody else got any questions here? I'll write Andy. Wait a minute. Let me see. This is for you, maybe, Andy. What did it say there, Andy? Was fuel cards that had what I heard was related.
Talking about the timing chain issues with the fuel
Oh,
card.
with the fuel cards. Okay. All right.
And maybe with the stock chain, maybe there is some validity to it. Maybe
Yeah. I'm
telling you to run this chain. I don't know.
Well, they obviously, Nicholson obviously knew. I didn't even hesitate. I just got the chain and fixed it, and I never looked back.
Yeah.
When Nicholson told you something, you better do it,
Yeah.
or else if you just wanted an explosion, Here's another question here. I'll get through these quick as I can. Sam, did the main webbing on the 427 tunnel port and camera hold up well for you? The story was the fuel cars needed more beef in the bottom end. That is probably true. We had no problem with it, but when you look at a nitro engine, there's no doubt about it that there's a problem of the matter of weight slinging around and pushing down. So, you're probably right. So, but we never had any on ours. So, all right.
Well, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
All right. Back then, what was the cost of buying? If you had to buy one of these cameras versus the Boss versus a Cleveland, you've told me that you could build two Clevelands for the price of that camera to build at one time.
Well, of course, we never bought any, so I don't know what they actually sold for. I know some people said and towards the end, I think they were selling them for, I don't know, $300, $500 or something.
Yeah.
Well, that probably sound about right because I think they had 500 of them to start with, or a little more than 500, and they were stacked. When we were at home in Mooney, they were stacked to the ceiling, so they had a lot in there on there. So, do you guys look at the Raptor? What is this here? Let me see here. Maybe Andy.
Yes, that is pretty much a modern day 427. You know, it's smaller cubic inch, but
Yeah.
the valve arrangement is very similar to the camera. Everything about it, except for the timing drive, it uses two chains instead of one. But
Right.
yeah,
Okay. Hey,
I've done some cylinder head work on those things, and they flow like gangbusters. I mean,
is
they're
that right?
good.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay. All right. I guess we better wrap it up. We're almost approaching an hour. So we don't want to put you all to sleep. So anyway, all right. You got anything more, Andy?
no, I just want to thank you for having me on. It's been fun tonight. It's always good to be on with you, Sam. I mean, I appreciate it.
I appreciate the compliment. No. Well, next week we'll see what develops here with Brian Wolf and Chris Holbrook. So,
I will definitely be tuning in for that.
well, you probably be there with me, so it's okay. All right. All right, guys. Y'all have a great weekend. And remember, uh, like, subscribe, and share. Get this thing out there so we can eat next week. So
Absolutely.
anyway, Andy's already eaten. I'm not eating yet. So all right, everybody. Thank you all again.
Thank
Have a
you.
good evening. Thank you, Andy.